Good morning, beautiful people. Welcome to yet another episode of the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Penina Wachera. I hope you guys have woken up well. We say that here at Younib Breakfast Show, we ensure that we start with morning affirmations where we tell each other good things so that we can be able to have a good day and have positive vibes. Anyway, remember you can always send your morning affirmation to us through our social media platform, Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and also there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. As it is the norm here at Younib Breakfast Show, let's go straight to the morning bite of the day. So yes, today we are going to speak about suicide and self-harm, and we have known so many people, most of the youths wamepass juu ya suicide, committing suicide, and today we are here to ensure that we give you information on matters suicide. How can you be able to know that this person experience depression to the extent of suicide? How can we start knowing about self-harm? That is the discussion of the day. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Yo Ashen and Younib organization. We are trying to ensure that you get to learn most of the things that are concerning mental health. And today I'm joined by a guest. As I say, he's not a familiar face. Kindly introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Waweru. I'm a psychologist and not so recent, graduate from Kenyatta University. And I'm happy to be here today and share insight on matters regarding self-harm and suicide.
Karibu sana. So to start us off, what is self-harm and what is suicide?
Self-harm by definition is simply causing harm to yourself, you know. And suicide is by definition causing injury to yourself with intent of taking your own life. So there are two categories of self-harm. There is suicidal self-harm and there is non-suicidal self-harm. In the latest version of the statistical manual. Therefore, that is how we categorize self-harm. Not all people that commit self-harm with suicide in mind. Therefore, there is need to know and understand the dichotomy that comes with self-harm, since not all self-harm necessarily leads to suicide, but all suicide is arrived at through self-harm. Yes.
Okay, so now we know about suicide and self-harm. What is the difference between self-harm and self-harm with suicide, right? So how can somebody know that this person is undergoing, or what are the warning signs of self-harm and suicide?
Since you've asked that question in two parts, I'll try my best to answer it in both parts. Warning signs that someone is more prone to self-harm is, number one, the person will start cutting or putting marks on themselves. You can find this person either cuts themselves, or there are people who can bite themselves. There are people who chew their nails too much and they like eating into these, what do we call it? The skin, to extent that it becomes bloody. There are people who do the same with the mouth. They bite off the corners, the edges of their lips. Therefore, to the extent it becomes bloody. There are people you'll start finding also these people with sharp objects. Objects that are more likely to cause harm, like small knives. Things that can break, things that can cut, things that can burn. There are people who also burn. You'll find people with a lighter. This person, does not have a history of smoking, but and he likes burning. There are people who like burning these hairs that are on the skin. There are people who like doing stuff like that. You'll also find people with warm clothing when there is, or clothing that hides most of the body organs, in the attempt to hide the scars. You'll find also that, and especially it will be on their thighs. The scars will be on their thighs or on the hands or where else. I think those are the places where people are most likely to
Self-harm.
Yes, to self-harm. Also, you'll realize increasing sense of worthlessness, an increasing sense of a negative self-image. It doesn't matter what happens to me. And you'll also realize that this person tends to give away what matters to them, and withdraws from social groupings. He used to be someone outgoing, and that is also the same with suicide. You used to be someone outgoing, then all of a sudden you don't want to see anyone, you don't want to be associated with anyone, you stay at home and so on and so forth. You also feel with suicide, you feel like you're becoming a burden to others. That is when you hear someone telling you, even whatever we are doing, there's one day I'm going to be here, kama nakusumbua, ni sawa tu, acha niende niwaondoke. And that is something that has been very common, especially in the written correspondence that people live. And also there is a sense of seeing the world as better without you, which is, okay, I often find it misguiding, but there is a sense of the person seeing the world as better. Things will be a lot better. You start seeing yourself as the problem in whatever is happening, even if whatever has happened that is not necessarily related to you. So in a nutshell, there are very many signs that can show you that someone is at risk of suicide and self-harm. And just to put it out there, I think you do not say committed suicide, you die by suicide. Yes, if you say committed suicide, you make it look like it is a willful action. And 9 out of 10 times, we are trying to change the perception that the people have towards suicide. And we are trying to give it a more caring approach, so that it doesn't look like a moral action that someone just sat down and decided, but there are things that pushed this person over the edge. Yes.
So you don't commit suicide?
Yes. You die by suicide.
You die by suicide. Anyway, I hope we are getting to understand what really this self-harm and suicide is all about. You were speaking about people wearing very heavy clothes, and I know now many people are judging, or maybe they'll be going on the street looking at others wakasema, it's today there's kuna jua na wewe unavaa vitu refu, so it doesn't have to be like that. For anybody can just do any clothes, but it depends with now. If you know a person for a specific a long time, and unaona for real umse hananga any short clothes, right? Hananga any short clothes yenye anavanga, that one means there's like a red flag that you may check out to see whether they are really doing self-harm. Remember, you can always interact with us through our social media platforms. Younib_TV on Instagram, Younib Media TV on Facebook, and there's a number on your screen. You can SMS or WhatsApp 0719 144 144. You can always ask your questions, and if you know of somebody who has been doing self-harm, tell them to watch this show so that they can be able to benefit from it. So let's take this short break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Penina, Wachera, and Dennis. And today we're speaking about self-harm and suicide. And before the break, tumeambiwa what the warning signs of self-harm and suicide is all about. Na najua nimewaambia hata by the way, it doesn't mean that if you wear long things, it means that you have self-harm tendency. What it means is that people who frequently self-harm, they usually cut themselves on specific places, mostly the hands. But sasa imanishi mwende nje mkijajwa watu mkisema mse amevaa kitu long, inaka mse ako na self-harming tendency. No, it doesn't have to be that way. But if you know somebody who for the longest of the while haujaimwona na kitu short sana sana and wanashinda tu na hizo vitu long, that means that they might have self-harming tendencies. So coming back to the conversation on self-harm and suicide, yeah, so what are some of the underlying factors that contribute to self-harm and suicide?
Okay, some of the underlying factors may contribute to self-harm and suicide include, but are not limited to, unresolved mental challenges. People with mental health problems, that is, speaking of disorders such as depressive, anxiety, personality disorders, borderline personality disorder, for example, bipolar disorder in some extent, because it has the shifting depressive phases. There's also disorders that are associated with body image, feeding and eating disorders. What other disorder do we have? What other cluster of disorders do we have? Okay, let's list those for now. There's also adverse childhood experiences, what people like calling trauma. Yes, so that can also have someone, that can also come with that feeling of unworthiness that comes, that people do not like you, people do not want you around, there's no need for you to be around, and so on and so forth. There's also interpersonal relationships, Yeah. Especially this is where heartbreaks come in, sadly, because, people out here are busy moving on with life, and people are being rejected out here. Yeah, and people need to learn how to take rejection. There are people who don't know how to do that, and therefore you find that sometimes our identities are so much pegged on the other person that when that person leaves, we feel as if we've lost that sense of identity. We don't know who we are anymore. Okay. On the flip side, we can blame ourselves for the things that have happened, and that can also result in this person or these people having suicidal ideations and at a certain time attempting suicide one or more times. There is also challenges of life, especially with the resilience levels, if you do not have positive outlets or positive methods that can help you cope with the stresses of life or with life stresses, you find that that build-up can lead to a mental toll, especially if things do not go your way, There are days you'll wake up and what people like to commonly refer to shetani kukwekea multibet, So you'll find that lack of proper positive coping mechanisms can help reinforce that idea, Take for example someone who tends to believe that they cannot sustain a relationship. Yeah. So this person wakes up today, then for one reason or another, you expect, when we wake up, I think as young people, teenagers, what's the first thing we do?
You get your phone. Yeah.
And it's not to check the time, it's to check whether, what's up, there is something, whether that special person has said good morning to you, good morning dear, and some emoticons we are not supposed to mention, and all that. Okay, so picture this person wakes up, then finds, instead of good morning dear, it was nice being with you, all that. Then when this person gets to the the when this person carries on with their day, with something bad happens again, something bad happens that reinforces the idea that they cannot sustain a relationship, or this person has been in a cycle where no relationship has exceeded more than a couple of months or a couple of weeks. You just tell each other I love you 2 times, then it's over.
Yeah.
So recurring experiences that reinforce this idea can help reinforce also the feelings that come with these ideas. Okay, so you find that those are some of the underlying factors, and it's good to also be aware of whatever pushes you to have suicidal ideations. We call them triggers. So it's also good to be conversant with that, so that if you know the trigger, you'll know how to respond to the trigger.
So we have gotten to understand now what can really make somebody do self-harm or also suicide. Before the break or on our first segment, you had said about stigma, like us speaking about committing suicide. This person committed suicide, or rather we should say died of suicide. So what are the other stigma that is out there when it comes to mental health and suicide and self-harm?
Okay. Stigma, there is actually a lot of stigma that comes with suicide and self-harm, especially that is attached to parasuicide. Parasuicide is attempting suicide multiple times. Therefore, there is a lot of isolation that comes with these people, because you find that these people view themselves as a burden, and they have that idea, that common idea. Therefore, when they come to you with the hope and the aim that you'll accept them, and 9 out of 10 times these people do not find that. Okay. Number 2, you find that it's very hard to convince a person that is convinced that they are not worthy of carrying on with whatever life brings onto them. This is because they use the experiences around them to justify whatever has happened. Therefore, the stigma also comes as a result of the misconceptions that we have regarding suicide. Firstly, there is this is a phase, it will pass, especially in adolescence, because you see, in adolescence there's that paradigm shift. You are closer to your mother as you started, or your father as you started. Then you find someone who is your age that you'll be closer to. You find your own clique that you feel understands you, and your parents all of a sudden stop understanding you. These people do not really understand how I feel. So you find that with that, there are a lot of there's that view that it is a phase, it will pass. You've heard people saying, or people remarking that they feel as if they can end their lives, and then adolescence, hormones, they pass. There's also a misconception of attention seeking, where when someone says they're going to take their life, it's just they're looking for attention. And this has come up because of how we paint, mental challenges and mental struggles, especially right now in the age of social media, where we're supposed to brandish the perfect lives, everything. we're supposed to paint our lives as picture perfect. So you find that all this brings stigma around that area. There are even cultural systems that prevent the open discussion of this this matter. If someone takes their life, dies by suicide, you find that story will never even be talked about.
Yeah.
Okay, as compared to other modes of death. It's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay, if someone talks of dying by suicide, this person, you'll find that the remarks that these people go to, the remarks that these people give back, do not really have any sense of empathy, and there is no open communication regarding the matter. Therefore, you find that these people do not really feel as if they're being understood, they're being listened to, they're being heard, they do not feel it. Yes.
Okay. Guys, if you find that you are resonating with whatever we are speaking here, you remember that we have psychologists who can really help you. It's time for you to seek help. And you can always call them through the number 0700 352 250, and they will be able to help you. For now, let's take this short break and we'll be back with more. Welcome back. This is still the Younib Breakfast Show with me, Penina, Wachera, and the guest Dennis, and we are here to discuss on matters self-harm and suicide. And I'll be sampling one of the questions that our viewer has sent. So, hello, I am Lydia from Dandora. I had a classmate in high school who used to self-harm, and people said it is cultic. Is it true?
No, self-harm is not cultic at all. Because although there is a widespread notion, it's basic human nature to attribute what we don't understand to evil. Yeah. If you do not understand something, it's basic to say that it is satanic, it's demonic, it's evil. You don't want it around you. But in real sense, self-harm is not cultic in any way. The people who are carrying out these acts of self-harm need help. Yes, and it's not a cult in any way. Because one, one behavior with cults is they seek to recruit, and you find that there is one aspect that frequently misses with people that self-harm. You don't see a growing number of people self-harming with time. You don't see that it was one, now there are 10, now it's a whole class. It doesn't work like that. So self-harm is a mode of expression that this person is doing, and is doing it because of perhaps psychological reasons, and there is need for urgent psychological help.
Okay, so self-harm is not cultic. I hope we've gotten to understand that. It is not cultic. Sawa sawa. So when we continue the discussion, if for example somebody has been able to hear the things that umesema about, oh, I am self-harming, or some of the signs that you said, how can they be able now to start coping, or what coping mechanisms are there for people with self-harm tendencies and also suicidal ideation?
Okay. Yeah. Someone with self-harm tendencies and suicidal ideations, personally, I recommend alternative expression, because these people do make the best of artists. They have a mind that is very creative and very expressive. Therefore, I recommend alternative expression. This person can turn into a writer. This person can turn into a singer, an artist, anything. Okay? That tries to express what this person is feeling inside. That is one. Two, I encourage mindfulness techniques. This person being in the present. Three, I encourage seeking professional help. Go to someone else. If you cannot find professional help, at least talk to someone. Yes, talk to someone who can listen to you without judgment and can validate what you feel. Because if you talk to someone who is, let me not say inexperienced, but if you talk to someone who has a certain perception when it comes to such, it will become problematic. It can make the matter worse. As I said, look for means of alternative expression. Seek professional help. There are counselors, psychologists, very able practitioners out here who are trained on self-harm and suicidal approaches. And the other one, kindly remind me?
Be in the moment.
Exactly. Mindfulness techniques. And also exercise, confide in a loved one. Yeah. Because also spirituality helps a lot when it comes to suicidal ideation, self-harm, looking out for something that is there. Someone that you can share your problems with. That's why some people turn to prayer. Yeah, some people increase. I know of center somewhere where people just go there to shout and cry their problems out, and when they leave in the evening, they leave feeling much, much better. So just turn to someone who at the end of the day, you'll end up feeling better than in the beginning.
So those are the coping mechanisms. So if you feel like Kenye tunaongelelea is really resonates with you, you can be able to use that. Tumeambiwa you get something to do and be in the moment, and also ensure that you are mindful of what you do or be in the moment, right? So talking now about families, definitely everyone who is going through this really needs a support system. So how can family or friends be able to support these people?
Okay. Family and friends, I always advocate for what I call the 3L technique. Look, listen, link. Look at this person. 9 out of 10 times people don't just come and tell you out of nowhere. Imagine, you don't do that. 9 out of 10 times. You'll hear people say after the fact, this person should have come to me, this person should have confided in me. Okay? But the signs were there. You just never noticed them. So learn to look out for signs, as we've said. Does this person have unexplained cuts? Does this person have bruises here and there that can't explain? You saw him with a new scar today. You'll see him with a fresh one tomorrow. And when you ask, they'll give you a whimsical reason, and so on and so forth. Does this person has a change in how they view themselves, how they view other people? Has this person changed in their social interactions, and so on and so forth? Look for the effects physically, look for the effects socially, look for the effects psychologically. How does this person think? How does this person view themselves, and so on and so forth? Also, listen to this person. Encourage open communication. Do not interrupt. Do not try to say what they are thinking. This is the worst time to try and impose your beliefs. If you believe it's the devil, that is your own belief. Do not impose on them. If you believe that if you take them to some place, they will be well, that is your own belief. Do not try and impose. Okay?
Yeah.
Thirdly, when you're listening, try and listen without judgment. Keep those theories you have to yourself. If you do not, the best you can do, try and provide facts, but try and keep away from judgment. Perception, stereotypes, don't do that. And when you're listening, also try and be empathetic to this person. Try and make this person feel as if he's being heard, or they're being heard, they're being listened to. And whatever problem they might have, or whatever feeling they might have, try and validate it. It's normal to feel that way. I can understand with what you're facing, what you've been going through. I can understand that it has been hard on you. Okay, try and validate it. Try and make this person feel as if they're talking to someone. Okay, they're having a conversation with someone. They're not talking to someone. Yes. Also, link. Try and connect these people with help. Places where they can find more advanced help. Like therapy. If you have practitioners, if you have helplines, if you have all that information, try and make it accessible to this person. If you have an organization that deals with suicide prevention and self-harm, try and link them. You've done good. You said that you've given a number, and you said that this person, when they call that number, they'll be able to access the practitioners who will help in mitigating some of these things. Yeah. So try and make that information as accessible as possible to these people. Yes.
Okay, so how can individuals, like if I am an individual who wants to seek help by myself, how can I be able to do that?
Okay, firstly, there's the number you provided. Second, there is a toll-free line from Red Cross, 1199. It is toll-free. It is open. It works 24/7. Give them a call, send them a text, and someone will reach out to you regarding the same. And there is also an organization called Befrienders Kenya. And this organization mainly helps people with suicidal ideations by reaching out to them, connecting them with support groups, and so on and so forth. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much for coming, for enlightening us on matters self-harm and suicide. At least now I can say we are well educated when it comes to matters self-harm and suicide. So thank you so much for coming. It's always a pleasure having you here. For everybody who has had or of somebody, remember you can always call the number 0700 352-250, and our psychologists who are really versed with what they do, or they know what they do, you can always call them and they will be able to help you out. Remember, this show is proudly brought to you by Miss Your Ashen and Younib organization to ensure that we reach to you guys to help you with all the problems that you have, either yourself, be it your family members, or be it your friends. We are here to ensure that we help them be able to stay in a good mental state. So this has been the Uni Breakfast Show. I would like to extend my gratitude to everyone who has made this show a success. Thank you, Elias Muchina, for being in the camera and also being our director. Asante sana. For our timekeeper, Dante, thank you so much. For everybody else who has made this show a success, asante sana. It's all because of you that we get to do this show every day. To you, our viewers, thank you for your questions. Thank you for always interacting with us and for always staying with us since morning until the time we end the show. And I'm sure tunasomanga pamoja. I usually say it's important for us to get informed because lack of information makes us now be able to do things unknowingly. But now when we are informed, it makes us better people, right? So if you know anybody who suffers from self-harm or suicide, be sure, tell them to come and watch this show. You can always show them and also tell them to seek help because it's important. Remember, it's good for us to link people. So link them up so that they can be able to get help. So this has been your show, the Uni Breakfast Show. Until next time, do have a beautiful day ahead. Goodbye.